up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that. Spitting slow, spitting fast, I could roast, I could gas. Think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains at last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah.
Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Gonna learn the consequence of being incompetent. Mental health is confidence, dreams and some modestness. I'm not here to save the day, that's for you to take away. I could play a million mind games, but instead I say something not illogical, something that is topical. Rub it on and watch it go, make yourself unstoppable. Dreams are irresponsible, but they're always possible. If you just believe, you could be so remarkable.
Thoughts in my head, a collage and they spread. I'll be great one day, going off of my meds. No, I'm not giving up, no, I'm not giving in. I will make it to the top, taking off in the wind. I gotta make it, I'm saving every day to taste it. I'm patient, but my mind, it can hardly take it. I'm chasing a dream that I've had for several ages. A vacant, modern kingdom for the taking.
Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make it.
Hello, everyone. I hope you're having a great week. Hi, Ellen Dragon. Are you still with me, honey? I was running a little bit behind getting started because I got all of the files that the Idaho Police Department, Moscow Police Department released, and I've been scouring over them and totally got lost. I figured we're going to go over a few of those. People will come in here soon, I'm sure, and of course we know a lot don't come when it's not drama, and that's fine. Tonight is about Ethan, Xana, Madison, and Kaylee. If you were able to watch the victim impact statements today, Lord, there were some neat nuggets in some of that. So let's play some of those, and then we'll read some of these documents that they released. That sound good? Let's see. Let's do Bethany's statement. She had somebody read her statement for her. And I think it's important to hear from these girls. They've been accused of a lot of stuff. And I caught a creator earlier blaming law enforcement for not giving us enough details that caused all the speculation that they did. Go to hell. And if you're that kind of person that's going to sit over here and justify shaming these kids the way you have because law enforcement didn't give us enough information, you don't belong here. You're not going to like me. They don't have to give a shit. We're in a society right now that thinks that everybody owes us something, and they don't owe us anything. They had a case to build. Period. That's what they were trying to do, was build a case. Hey, T-Pex. Oh, Elam Dragon, I cried through the whole thing. Like, I kept just bawling. I'm like, this is ridiculous. My husband called. He was like, why does it sound like you've been crying? I was like, because I have. It's like, oh my God. It's just frustrating. All right, let's listen to Bethany's statement real quick.
I'll be speaking on behalf of Bethany, and so, yeah, here it reads. My name is Bethany Funk.
Can we hear that all right? Hope we can hear that all right. Because I did not open up my phone. Okay, good deal.
And I was roommates with Maddie, Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan. I not only lost some of my best friends, but I also lost a sister. Never in a million years would I have thought that something like this would have happened to my closest friends. I thought that we were going to wake up and go upstairs, see them, and tell them how they had scared us and that they were going to tease us about how we are constantly scaredy cats and make jokes about it as we would go to Taco Bell like always. But sadly, that is not what happened and what turned out to be my worst nightmare. When I first woke up that morning, I had no idea what happened. Vague. So I called my dad, who is a dentist, and he asked what I should do. He told me to take Advil, so I did, and I went back to sleep. I was still out of it and still didn't know what happened. If I had known, I of course would have called 911 right away. I still carry so much regret and guilt for not knowing what had happened and not calling right away, even though I understand it wouldn't have changed anything, not even if the paramedics had been right outside the door. I was so frantic that morning and scared to death, not knowing what had happened. And when I made the 911 call, I couldn't even get out the words. And from then on, I don't remember a thing. It was like my brain wiped that whole memory. That was the worst day of my life. And I know it always will be. While I was still in shock, trying to process the fact that my friends were truly gone, I had been attacked by the public. I was grieving, numb, and unsure of what had happened was even real. And at the same time, I was getting flooded with death threats and hateful messages from people who did not know me at all or know the dynamic of our friendship. Social media made it so much worse, and strangers made up stories to entertain themselves. The media harassed not just me, but also my family. People showed up at our house. They called my phone, my parents' phones, other family members' phones, and we were chased while I was still trying to survive emotionally and grieve the loss of my friends. I hated and still hate that they are gone, but for some reason, I am still here and I got to live. I still think about this every day. Why me? Why did I get to live and not them?
The survivor guilt alone that these two girls are going to have to live with and deal with is unimaginable. And the fact that so many in social media have criticized them and speculated and accused is just downright despicable.
For the longest time, I could not even look at their families without feeling sick with guilt. I did not know what to say or what to do. I was terrified that my presence just made their pain worse. And I was still here when their kid, their siblings, and their friends, their loved ones should have been here instead. After everything happened, I was afraid to go into my own backyard or alone in my house. I was scared that the person who did this would come for me next. I was always scared that the media would try to catch me at any moment of any day, even when I was just walking around my house. I made my parents close all the blinds during the day so no one could see me even in the slightest chance. I barely left the house, and when I did, I made sure I was never alone. I slept in my parents' room for almost a year. I made them double lock every door set an alarm, and still check everywhere in the room just in case someone was hiding. And I still check my room every night before, and I double lock it. I have not slept through a single night since this happened. I constantly wake up in panics, terrified. Someone is breaking in, or someone is here to hurt me, or I'm about to lose someone else that I love. The fear never really leaves. For a long time, I could barely get out of bed, but one day I realized I have to live for them. They did not get the chance to keep living, but I do, and I will not take that for granted. So now every day I remind myself to live for them, and everything I do it with them in mind. I am still scared to go out in public, but I force myself to do things because I know that they would want me to keep living my life to the fullest. I am beyond blessed to still be here, and I refuse to take that for granted when they did not get a chance. Our house was not just a house, it was a home. It was where we laughed till we couldn't breathe, make meals, did crafts, binge watch reality shows, played games, and spent lazy days on the couch. It was movie nights, wine nights, morning debriefs, pranks, hot chocolate, cookies, and warmth. I would cherish those memories forever, and I will not let what happened erase how special our home was or how much those memories meant to me. Now, I would like to share some bits and pieces of who they were as people and some of the memories that we shared. One of my favorite memories was Halloween, and we all went to Sigma Chi. But instead of partying, we just sat in an apartment, talking and laughing all night long. I do not think I've ever laughed that hard in my life. We did not care about the party, we were just happy to be with each other. Xana was 1 in a million. She was the life of the party. But she was also the kindest and funniest person I knew. Everyone loved her because she made everyone feel so loved. She was just someone you always wanted to be around, no matter the circumstance. One of my favorite days with Xana was when she laid on the couch, when we laid on the couch together all day watching movies and snacking. Or when she, Maddie, and I would go and get margaritas, chips, and salsa. She would also light up a room with her presence alone. Kaylee had the most beautiful, radiant smile, and she was so.
He has reminded me of Bundy since day one. And the thought that he studied Bundy like he did is just creepy. In these statements, he sat stone-faced. The only time he reacted was when Kylie's sister and mom spoke. And you can see one time he smirks and then there were a couple of flinches that they actually hit a nerve with what they were saying. Let me finish this one and then we'll continue. Hold on.
Kind, but also one of the funniest people I've ever known. She loved playing little pranks. And she always had us laughing so hard that we could not breathe. She was so full of energy and life. I really believe that she could have ruled the world if she wanted to, and she would have been America's sweetheart. Ethan was the sweetest, most genuine guy. He was always smiling and always making other people smile too. Ethan was the kind of person you wanted around. He was so kind and easy to talk to and just so fun. And the way he cared for Xana was truly something to admire. And really was proof that storybook love and true romances really do exist. It was not only obvious to me, but everyone that was around Ethan and Xana that they were absolute soulmates. Maddie was not only one of my best friends, but she was the older sister I would have always wanted. There was no one I looked up to or admired more than Maddie. She was truly a ray of sunshine, and everyone was drawn to her. She was so kind, loving, funny, fun, and passionate. She had the sweetest soul and wanted nothing but the best for everyone and to love and show love to everyone. She took me under her wing and always made me feel so safe and included. And above all, loved, and valued. She never failed to make me laugh or put a smile on my face. Still to this day, I am beyond grateful that she chose me to be her sorority little, and I thank God every day that I not only got to know her, but had her as one of my best friends. Honestly, I cannot pinpoint one favorite memory with Maddie because I have so many, and this would be a very long read if I did. But if some little memories with her that I cherish is when the two of us made a nice dinner and split some wine, or when we would binge watch Jersey Shore or Summer House. When we came up with a whole dance routine on Halloween and danced and sang all night, like no one was watching. All the late night walks home from going out, and just little shopping trips and so much more. I am beyond blessed that I had the chance to know each and every one of them. They changed my life in ways I would have never put into words. I hope that they are remembered for who they are, not what happened to them, because who they are were so beautiful, and they deserve to be remembered in the highest way. My heart breaks every time I go to text one of them or how badly I wish I could see and hang out with them. And then I remember I cannot. I will never be able to again. But I still talk to them in my prayers every single night, and I always will. I wish more than anything I could hug them one last time. And I wish I could tell them how much I love them. And even though I cannot, I still tell them every night. I will keep living for them as long as I am lucky enough to still be here. And they were all truly one of a kind, and they will be in our hearts forever and always.
It's just such a beautiful statement. All right, let's do Diddle Mortenson's, the other roommate. Now during her statement, she said she was too emotional to stand, so they let her sit to do her statement. My heart breaks for her. Good God.
Thank you, Your Honor. What happened that night changed everything. Because of him, for beautiful, genuine, compassionate people were taken from this world for no reason. He didn't just take their lives. He took the light they carried it into every room. He took away how they made everyone feel safe, loved, and full of joy. He took away the ability for me to tell him that I love him and that I'm so proud of him. He took away who they were becoming and the futures they were going to have. He took away birthdays, graduations, celebrations, and all the memories that we were supposed to make. All of it is gone. And all the people who loved them are just left to carry that weight forever. He didn't just take them from the world. He took them from me, my friends, my people who felt like my home, the people I looked up to and adored more than anyone. He took away my ability to trust the world around me. What he did shattered me in places I didn't know could break. I was barely 19 when he did this. We had just celebrated my birthday at the end of September. I should have been figuring out who I was. I should have been having the college experience and starting to establish my future. Instead, I was forced to learn how to survive the unimaginable. I couldn't be alone. I had to sleep in my mom's bed because I was too terrified to close my eyes. Terrified that if I blinked, someone might be there. I made escape plans everywhere I went. If something happens, how do I get out? What can I use to defend myself? Who can help? And then there are the panic attacks. The kind that slam into me like a tsunami out of nowhere. I can't breathe. I can't think. I can't stop shaking. All I can do is scream because the emotional pain and the grief is too much to handle. My chest feels like it's caving in. Sometimes I drop to the floor with my heart racing, convinced something is very wrong. It's far beyond anxiety. It's my body reliving everything over and over again. My nervous system never got the message that it is over, and it won't let me forget what he did to them. People call me strong. They say I'm a survivor, but they don't see what my new reality looks like. They don't see the panic attacks, the hypervigilance, the exhaustion, the way I scan every room I enter, the way I flinch at sudden sounds. They don't know how heavy it is to carry so much pain and still be expected to keep going, and that's because of him. He stole parts of me I may never get back. He took the version of me who didn't constantly ask, what if it happens again? What if next time I don't survive? He may have.
That's the part that we forget, is that there were more than 4 victims in this. There were way more. You've got to count their family members, their friends, their roommates, the people that went into the house, the officers that looked at the scene. There are so many people. That community was shattered by this. But these 2 girls that survived have survivor's guilt, and it is enormous, and it is something that they may not ever overcome. I mean, I remember when our house was burglarized one time, and I remember how I felt then and not being able to sleep and feeling creeped out. And that was just a burglary. This was a quadruple homicide that happened in the home while they were there. I cannot even fathom the fear going through these kids. It just is unimaginable. And my mama heart breaks for them. My mama heart wants to gather them up and love on them and just try to make it better. You know, Ellen Dragon, what is in the water in Idaho? I don't know, but they need to do something in Idaho, because we've been compiling a whole list of child abuse cases in Idaho that we're working on to do about the Jody Hildebrandt stuff. And then this, and it's just like, what the hell is going on in Idaho? I thought Idaho was absolutely beautiful, but I could never live there, especially after all this.
Shattered parts of me, but I'm still putting myself back together. Piece by piece, I'm learning how to live in this new version of life. It is not easy. It hurts, but I'm still trying. And I'm not trying just for me. I'm trying for them, my friends. About a year ago, I had a dream about them. I got to say goodbye. I told them I won't be able to see you again, so I need to tell you goodbye. They all kept asking why, and all I could say was, I can't tell you, but I have to. When I woke up, I felt shattered and heartbroken, but also strangely grateful. Like maybe in some way that dream gave us the goodbye we never got. Still, no dream can replace them, and no goodbye will ever feel.
Look how pleased he looks right now. The little grin on his face. How he's watching her. Fucking pig. Oh.
Finished. He is a hollow vessel, something less than human. A body without empathy, without remorse. He chose destruction. He chose evil. He feels nothing. He tried to take everything from me. My friends, my safety, my identity, my future. He took their lives, but I will continue trying to be like them, to make them proud. Living is how I honor them. Speaking today is to help me find some sort of justice for them. And I will never let him take that from me. He may have taken so much from me, but he will never get to take my voice. He will never take the memories I had with them. He will never erase the love we shared, the laughs we had, or the way they made me feel seen and whole. Those things are mine. They are sacred, and he will never touch them. I get to feel sadness. I get to feel rage. I get to feel joy even when it's hard. I get to feel love even when it hurts. I get to live. And while I will still live with this pain, at least I get to live my life. He will stay here, empty, forgotten, and powerless.
Sweet, sweet girl. Let's see. Elm Dragon, I thought all the crazy was in Kentucky. Oh, wait. There's quite a few of them there. Sorry, Elm Dragon, but there is quite a few in Kentucky that are nutso, but they ain't this level of nuts that we know of. Elm Dragon says his posture during sentencing, he was stiff, forward-leaning. During impact statements, he was leaned back, casual, and smirking. Yep. I want to watch Dr. G. I don't know if we'll do it tonight because I want to read some of these reports. But I want to watch Dr. G and break down what he shares about his findings and all of this. Let's see. Which one do we want to do now? Oh, let's do that one. Let's do Kaylee's sister. What do y'all think? That one was priceless. Girlfriend laid into him.
Hello, I'd like to start by thanking the court for allowing me the time and opportunity to speak today.
I love how clear she is, how firm she is, how steady she sounds. She is not letting him see how broken she is. And I love that about her, showing him a strong woman.
My name is Olivia, and I'm the big sister of Kaylee Goncalves, and I was blessed to love Madison Mogen as a sister too. I'm not here today to speak.
Something we learned today that her dad shares in the press conference is that Kaylee had the worst injuries. I believe he said she was stabbed over 30 times and her face was bludgeoned or totally destroyed. She was unrecognizable, and it says that in the reports. Kaylee fought. She fought for her life.
In grief, I'm here to speak in truth. Because the truth is, my sister Kaylee and her best friend Maddie were not yours to take. They were not yours to study, to stalk, or to silence. They were two pieces of a whole, the perfect yin and yang. They are everything that you could never be. Loved, accepted, vibrant, accomplished, brave, and powerful. Because the truth about Kaylee and Maddie is they would have been kind to you. If you had approached their day lives, they would have given you directions, thanked you for the compliment, or awkwardly giggled to make your own words less uncomfortable for you. In a world that rejected you, they would have shown mercy. Because the truth is, I'm angry. Every day I'm angry. I'm left shouting at the inside of my own head everything I wish I could say to you. The truth about me is when I heard the news, I didn't cry. I listened for them. I promised them I would, that I would fight for them, that I would show up no matter what it cost me. I swore I'd never let them feel alone. Because you see, I've always been their heavyweight. I've always been the one to fight the battles they didn't feel ready to fight themselves. All it ever took was a call. I'd handle it for them, no matter the time, no matter the cost. They could wave their white flag because they knew I would never back down, not for them. And not even death could change that. Somewhere along the line, I started to think about what I would say to them if I was given just one last chance. If I could gather enough heartbreak or love or sacrifice or whatever it took to get just one message across, what would I say? Throughout this entire process, I've written my feelings down at every moment, my wishes, my love, my denial, my anger. And as one final act of love, I'd planned to read these thoughts.
He's kind of moving around a little bit here. I don't know if he's feeling uncomfortable. I'm not sure what I'm seeing there.
Even jarring and discombobulating and not even making sense. Because for me, that was true love. As bare and as naked as it could be, not laced in pretty words or dressed for the, but written through bleary eyes at 2 a.m. with clenched
I don't know why it keeps doing that.
fists, angry at this reality. My true final act of love was to continue on without them, for them. That dream to read aloud my love to them, to bring meaning through pain, was the latest blow in realizing you don't deserve it. And Kaylee and Maddie don't need it. Kaylee and Maddie have always known my love, and they would never ask me to prove it by further victimizing myself to a defendant who has shown no guilt, no remorse, no apprehension. They would say to me, "Why would you give the satisfaction of showing vulnerability now? You promised you would never back down." And for that clarity, I'm thankful. I won't give you what you want. I won't offer you tears. I won't offer you trembling. Disappointments like you thrive on pain, on fear, and on the illusion of power. And I won't feed
And here she goes. Now she's about to unleash on him everything she's got.
your beast. Instead, I will call you what you are: sociopath, psychopath, murderer. I will ask the questions that reverberate violently.
The smirk started to fade. Did y'all see that? Did you see how he had that smirk and then his mouth drew in?
Violently in my own head, so loudly that I can't think straight most any day. Some of these might be familiar, so sit up straight when I talk to you. How was your life right before you murdered my sisters?
So one thing that caught my attention when she starts these questions are the ones he put in his questionnaire when he was in school. I'm trying to remember where it was at. It was some questionnaire he did for a report when he was in criminal justice school.
Did you prepare for the crime before leaving your apartment? Please detail what you were thinking and feeling at this time. Why did you choose my sisters? Before making your move, did you approach my sisters? Detail what you were thinking and feeling. Before leaving their home, is there anything else you did? How does it feel to know the only thing you failed more miserably at than being a murderer is trying to be a rapper? Did you recently start shaving or manually pulling out your eyebrows? Why November 13th? Did you truly think your Amazon purchase was untraceable because you used a gift card? How do you find it enjoyable to stargaze with such a severe case of visual snow? Where is the murder weapon? The clothes you wore that night? What did you bring into the house with you? What was the second weapon?
Okay, am I back? Can y'all hear me? My internet evidently went out. Are we back? Okay, good. Good. Sorry. I've been having internet issues all day. I'm about ready to go off on Spectrum. Now, let's try this again. So sorry, guys.
On December 30th.
So, what part did it cut off on? Did y'all hear me going off about his her throwing back at him what he did in his questionnaire? Did y'all hear that part? Before I froze and was completely gone. Okay. So the thing she's throwing at him, I'll back up just a little bit. We'll go back here. So these questions that she's throwing at him, these are the same things he put in his little questionnaire thing he did when he was in college.
Stargaze was such a severe case of visual snow. Where is the murder weapon? The clothes you wore that night? What did you bring into the house with you? What was the second weapon you used on Kaylee?
Yeah, see, today, I don't know if I had said this part, if y'all heard me, Kaylee's dad told the media in the press conference that they had just been told, I guess last week, at some point between him pleading guilty to the sentencing, they were given details about the murder. And Kaylee took the brunt of the injuries over everybody. She had the most, over 30 stab wounds, and her face was unrecognizable, and it talks about that in the reports that we're going to read here in just a minute. So they go into this with even more hurt and hatred and trying to process.
What were Kaylee's last words? Please describe in detail the level of anxiety you must have felt when you heard the Bearcat pull up to your family home on December 30th, 2022. Which do you regret more? Returning to the crime scene 5 hours later, or never, ever going back to Moscow, not even once, after stalking them there for months? If you were really smart, do you think you'd be here right now? What's it like needing this much attention just to feel real? You're terrified of being ordinary, aren't you?
I don't know, Elm Dragon. I don't know what I think of his attorneys. I'm struggling, which, look, we all deserve a defense, even the guilty. And they have a job to do. But she creeps me out. There's something about her I don't personally like. And I don't know what it is.
Do you feel anything at all? Or are you exactly what you always feared? Nothing. If you're so powerful, then why are you still hiding, defendant? You see, I'm here today as me.
And notice she doesn't call him his name. She calls him defendant. Love that. Love that. She is owning him through this whole statement.
But who are you? Let's try to take off your mask. You didn't create devastation. You revealed it in yourself. And that darkness you carry, that emptiness, you'll sit with it long after this is over. That is your sentence. And it was written on the wall long before you ever pled guilty. You didn't win. You just exposed yourself as the coward you are. You're a delusional, pathetic, hypochondriac loser who thought you were so much smarter than everybody else. Constantly scolding, turning your nose up to grammar mistakes, nitpicking and criticizing others. You wanted so badly to be different, to be special, to be better, to be deep, to be mysterious. You found yourself thinking you were better than everyone else, and you thought you could figure out the human psyche and see through it, all while tweaked out on heroin. The shadows made you feel powerful because no one ever paid you any attention in the light.
Mm-hmm.
You thought you were exceptional, all because of a grade on a paper. You thought you were elite because your online IQ test from 2010 told you so. All of that effort just to seem important.
I have to say it. Y'all know where I'm going with this, right? He took an online IQ test that made him part of the elite. I know somebody else that's taken an online IQ test that makes her think that she's part of the elite. But I digress. Sorry, I had to say it.
It's desperate. There is a name for your condition, though. Your inflated ego just didn't allow you to see it. Wannabe. You act like no one could ever understand your mind, but the truth is you're basic. You're a textbook case of insecurity disguised as control. Your patterns are predictable. Your motives are shallow. You are not profound. You're pathetic. You aren't special or deep, not mysterious or exceptional. Don't ever get it twisted again.
And he reacts again. Just see that.
No one is scared of you today. No one is intimidated by you.
Reaction.
Is impressed by you. No one thinks that you are important.
She's getting under that skin.
You orchestrated this like you thought you were God. Now look at you, begging a courtroom for scraps. You spent months preparing, and still all it took was my sister in a sheath. You work so hard to seem dangerous, but real control doesn't have to prove itself. The truth is, the scariest part about you is how painfully average you turned out to be. The truth is, you're as dumb as they come. Stupid, clumsy, slow, sloppy, weak, dirty. Let me be very clear. Don't ever try to convince yourself you mattered just because someone finally said your name out loud. I see through you. You want the truth? Here's the one you'll hate the most. If you hadn't attacked them in their sleep, in the middle of the night, like a pedophile, Kaylee would have kicked your fucking ass.
I love it.
Thank you.
I love that part. That's probably my favorite part. I am not gonna lie. Absolutely my favorite part. Now, let me get to my playlist because my playlist, I had a playlist for all of it, and it just makes it easier to find. Okay. Okay, so I want to listen to Mom. Well, let's see. Y'all want to hear Dad or Mom first? Which one do y'all want to go listen to first? They're both pretty dang good. There is a serious delay on this tonight. My internet must be super slow. All right, we'll do Dad because he's right there. I'm going to speed it up so it'll go a little bit faster. Speed. Look at him. He turned it so the dance could look at him. Let's make sure. Do I have that playing on there properly? I do not even have it playing on here properly. It's fine. Got I hit stop. Yeah, they all of them in their own right hit me pretty dang hard today. Like it was rough.
Today,
I
you've
love
lost
how
control.
he turned this to make him facing.
Today, we are here to prove to the world that you picked the wrong families. The wrong state, the wrong police officers, the wrong community. You tried to break our community apart. You tried to plant fear. You tried to divide us. You failed. Instead, your actions have united everyone in their disgust for you. I just learned from these lead investigators, to their shock, they worked in an investigation and actually worked with the Pennsylvania police officers and the federal FBI. You united everyone. Everyone was united after you. None of us are divided. We are united in our disgust and our love for these children. Today, you have no name. Because when this all started, we all came together and we said, let's stop even talking about his name, just use initials. So even the media just calls you BK. That's all you are. Looking back when the police officers knocked on my door, told me what happened to my child, told me what happened to Maddie Mae, I don't think he was even out of the driveway before my kids turned around, looked at me and said, what do we do, Dad? I told them, you get to work. You get your ass to work. And we started calling, we started texting, we started emailing. And you know what? Within hours, we had your white car on camera. We knew from the very beginning we had you. Police officers tell us within minutes, they had your DNA, like a calling card. You were that careless, that foolish, that stupid. Master degree, you're a joke, complete joke. But we took this disaster and we did what we could. We put everything online. We took our kids, we took our images, we took everything that they did, their videos, their photos, the girls' pranks, Ethan singing. We put it out there, we shared it with the world. And the world united. And all they ended up, when they talked about this case, is they talked about Kaylee Jade, Maddie Mae, Xana, and Ethan. Everything that these people meant to us, a father, a mother, a brother, a sister, we shared that with our community. And then we shared it with our state. We shared it with the country. And eventually we shared it with the world. The world's watching because of the kids, not because of you. Nobody cares about you. You're not worth the time, the effort to be remembered. In time, you will be nothing but two initials forgotten to the wind. No visitors, nothing more than initials on an otherwise unmarked tombstone. From this moment, we've all started. From this moment, we will forget you. I'll leave in closing. One last thing. You picked the wrong family, and we're laughing at you on your trip to Chapin. That will be today or tomorrow. I'll close with God bless all the men and women and all the hard work that you guys did. You guys allowed us to grieve and allowed us to get through this. The amount of work that you guys put together and the way that you guys put it together was beautiful. There was hard times to be expected, but thank you all. God bless.
Thank you.
I don't know who's this, because this was like 15.
Fiona next is Stephen Gonzalves, Kaylee's brother.
Oh, and her brother. Okay, I missed this one. So let's listen to him real quick, because I missed him.
Olivia Gonzalves,
Paul.
Kaylee's sister.
Oh, no.
Hello, I'd like to start by thanking the court.
That one we did see. All right. We're going to do mom, because I loved hers. I think we have, about two more, maybe three if we do the judge too, to listen to that I wanted to listen to again and talk about. And then we'll do something to kind of lighten it a minute and then read these statements. If y'all can hang with me that long. I know it's later than what I usually go live. Being summer, I'm probably going to have to do them either earlier in the day, middle of the day, or at night, later at night, because it's just too hot to go take the dogs out. So I have to take them out later. So I may kind of play around with times and see what's going to kind of work. And I know we've got to get the book finished. Those of y'all that are members, we've got to get the book finished. If you're watching on the replay or even now, make sure you hit the thumbs up. I appreciate that. And if you want to join the channel, I will drop that link here in just a minute. But let's listen to this.
Thank you, Your Honor. I never imagined having to speak to someone so devoid of humanity. For a long time, I didn't think I'd find the words low enough to meet you where you are. But now I realize this isn't about you. It's about what you've done to me, and I need you to hear it. When you murdered my daughter, Kaylee J. Goncalves, you didn't just take her life. You shattered others. You attacked what you could never be, and in doing so, you left a trail of devastation far beyond that house. You stole my peace. You've altered my every waking moment, every sleepless night, the way I view the world, people, safety, trust. It's all been changed by your cruelty. I no longer recognize parts of myself. Joy is harder to find. Laughter feels foreign. The world moves forward, but I'm suspended in a place of sorrow and rage. You've taken from me something that can never be restored. The grief sits with me every day, some days quietly, and other days so loud it drowns out everything else. The emotional toll you've inflicted on me is immeasurable. I live with a constant ache, with birthdays that are now memorials, with holidays that feel hollow, with empty chairs that scream louder than words ever could. I am forever changed. But for you, as a person working on a PhD in criminal justice, you really didn't think this one through. You're not that good. In fact, you're not that good at anything. You couldn't secure a job. You couldn't get along with others. You couldn't even get a female to look in your direction. All because you are pathetic. Now you're a joke in this courtroom. I wish I could crown you with a gesture.
I want to tell you what, Mom sends me over. Mom has me rolling with some of her stuff that she says here, and his body language shows that she hits a few nerves.
To complete your orange jumpsuit clown look. A dead killer doesn't kill again. So while I'm disappointed the firing squad won't get to take their shots at you, I'm confident that the men in prison will have their way with you in more ways than one. You will finally get what you wanted, physical touch. Just probably not how you were expecting it. See, you haven't beat the system. You've simply entered a new one, where the rules are cruel and the consequences will never end. You are entering a place where no one will care who you are and no one will ever respect you. You will be forgotten, discarded, used, and erased. You will always be remembered as an as a loser, an absolute failure. And when those prison doors slam shut behind you, I hope that sound echoes in your heart for the rest of your meaningless days. I hope it reminds you of what we all already know. You're nothing. May you continue to live your life in misery. You are officially the property of the state of Idaho, where your fellow inmates are anxiously awaiting your arrival. But it's okay, because they're there to help you. Be waiting. Quick message from our youngest daughter. Aubrey wanted to say, you may have received A's in high school and college, but you're going to be getting big D's in prison.
I absolutely love it. Oh my Lord. I can't, that was the best. That was absolutely the best. And she ain't wrong. He better not drop the soap a whole lot, and he better really pay attention. Cause he gonna be somebody's bitch in prison. Let's see. There's another one I wanted. What's it at? Well, I know I saved the uncle. Let's see. Let's play Xana's dad, and I'm gonna find the uncle because I want to share it too.
I just want to say, before I start, I'm Xana's dad, Jeff Kernodle. It's been a hard road down, because she's gone. And I want to thank everybody, other their families that speaking so far, spoke about things. I agree with everything they have to say. It all comes back to a lot of the same things that I've had to deal with and we as a family have had to deal with. And that brings me, a basis of what I'm talking about a little bit is on my way up here, flying up here in the plane and about halfway through the flight, this little girl calling out for her dad. Hey, dad. And then in my mind, I was kind of half asleep. It's dark on the plane. I heard Xana calling out for me like she did, back when she was little, 5 years old. And those times were hard. It was chaotic, but we always had something to work toward that was in a positive direction compared to right now, which is necessarily not as positive as that for sure. And I know I miss Xana a lot. My life's been changed, and Xana had a great impact on me. And the impact was when she was gone, I realized how important she was, and what she really did for me, influenced me, was way beyond what I ever thought. She'd call me up on the weekends, check on me, see who's with me. She's like accountability to your youngest daughter, and that really made a big difference. It made me really think about things and what it's all about. That's the things that I miss the most is those calls on the weekends, the calls at 11 at night. Oh, what's going on? You want to meet my friend? Whoever she's with, a couple of her friends, I can meet them, talk to them, and she always did that. And it's pretty cool. I really miss that. And she made a big impact on me, on other people, her family. But the impact that she made is so extensive on what happened here. And it goes so far. People from everywhere in the world, are following things. And Xana has made a difference in their lives. So, countless people, they might not even know her. They never knew anything about her. It's what they see. And they just love her and say how they wish she could have been their friend. Could have been their friend, could have hung out. And it's like, this is a blessing, this is what the little kid was. And definitely was a big blessing in my life. And so is Jasmine. And basically, we worked hard to do the things we did, through the times they were growing up. And through those times, I realized that I wanted both of them to graduate college. and that'd be the ultimate thing for them to do to prepare for the world. Then it came back to me. Xana didn't get to finish college. She had it all figured out. And this all just came back to me when I was there, and that little girl was on the plane doing that. It's like where I was going, what I was going here for. And then I just realized and thought to myself about the wonderful life that she had and we had together. And I still could have with Jasmine, but that's the part that really counted. It's the part that really counted is those memories. And those are what I have left, the memories with her and the ones with her and the ones I can make with her and the life that I can go on with now, which is what she wants. And I say that in present tense because that's what she wants, because I've been told that, I've had countless ways that she's out there and has a way to communicate, which I'm very grateful for. That goes to say that the impact of what happened to them, all the 4 kids, goes so much further than just not me, the parents, the families, the community. It goes so far because a lot of kids, in the colleges, just for an example, they lock their doors now. The door wasn't locked in the back. Penn State or wherever it was, all the colleges I know that I've heard, they all lock their doors now. So maybe the impact it's going to make is going to help out and maybe protect some people. Having this outreach and having the influence of what happened to these kids did, all I know is I was 7 miles away when it happened, and she wasn't feeling that good. It was 11:30, and I almost went over to Susanna's to say, and I would have been sitting right there on that couch, and you had to deal with me. So they would have had a chance, and I regret that. I regret not going. But the reason why I didn't is because Xana said, "Don't be drinking and driving. Got the rental car. Don't be drinking and driving." The week before that. So she was she would have been mad at me to do that. But I really wish I would have drunk and drove, because they would have had a chance, all 4 of them.
Just think about that. Had he gone that night like he wanted to, this would be a different thing. And that's another guilt that he's going to have as a dad. And that just, that kind of gets me.
At this point, I just have to go on. We're going to go on with everything and make things better in my life, because that's what it's all about. I have closure in things. And the part that we miss is Xana influence, her smile, the things that she did. And we have the memories left, the great memories. And she just wants us to make more memories and not be sad or upset or shocked or taken for that, And that's what we're going to do. We just have to. That's all I got.
Thank you.
If you have not had the chance to watch the documentary on Prime, watch it. Because one thing I loved about that documentary that we don't get in a lot of these other documentaries is that they really showcased each one of these kids. And we learned who they were, and we learned all of the things and how amazing they were and how loved they were by everybody. And they really were kids just living their life and enjoying a future. And that was stolen. And that's just gut-wrenching. I don't have any other words for it. Let me it's not saving the stuff that I keep trying to get it to save. We're going to pull it up. Let's see. Lord, did you not? Okay, hold on. Oh, this is the first time you've seen anything on this case? T-Pex? Hold on, Elm Dragon. Let me look it up. It's like a night in Idaho, I think. One Night in Idaho on Prime. It is so good. I highly recommend it. It is an amazing documentary. It is probably the best that I've watched on any case because they focused on these kids. They focused on all of the victims, including other kids in the school that were dealing with this, that seen the kids that night, and how social media affected them. I mean, JLR is featured in it, in the torment that he did. They don't show Bullhorn Betty, but we have seen footage of her and her bullshit over there. Oh, sorry, hiccup. All right, this one uncle had some really interesting things to say. Did I share it yet? Did not. I haven't watched a lot on it, TPEX, because I kind of wanted it to get to the trial phase before I dug in, because I just, new cases I struggle with because of the misinformation and how easy it is to fall into the conspiracy and do more harm than good. And I just don't want to be that kind of creator. And I mean, I've kind of followed along enough, and I've watched the different shows on it. And I've watched mainstream media coverage on it. I have not watched any creator coverage on it because it just bothers me. Well, how was it canceled? I told it to share. Oh, I hit the wrong button. Okay, let's do this one.
Shannon Gray, the Goncalves family attorney, will be reading statements from Kaylee Goncalves' grandmothers.
Okay, that's not the one that I wanted. Let's see.
Next, Your Honor, I believe Randy Davis, stepfather to Xana Kernodle, would like to address the court.
I was the stepfather, I believe.
Hi, my name's Randy, stepdad of Xana. I just feel the same way we all do. All of us are united because of something that happened. And I'm grateful to know and have met some new family because of this awful event. But this is probably the last time we're all going to be in the same room together. Let's be real. So I can say, I love you all, and I feel your pain. And just God bless us all, you know, just get through it. I had stuff wrote up. It was probably best I didn't read it out. Probably get kicked out of here. So, you know, I'll share one thing to you guys, not to you, with Xana. So I was working in North Dakota and came home, and Jazzy and Xana had taken our son Elijah and put him in a dress, makeup, and it was awful, you know. I was like, I don't know. She was funny. I told her she'd be in the movies and be somebody great one day like that. And now she is just above us as an angel with all the other beautiful kids. So let's hold that to our hearts, because this evil thing is not going to take nothing from us. You, man, I don't know what my limits are here, but I'm really struggling, dude. I am struggling. So I want to just be out in the woods with you, just so I can teach you about loss and pain. I love God. I wouldn't take your life. That's up to him. But I guarantee you, you are weak. God, I would just give a moment, man, 5 minutes out in the woods. Oh, man. You're going to go to hell.
Let these daddies have 5 minutes with him. That's, don't do the death penalty. Just give these daddies 5 minutes each with him. You know what I mean? Just,
I know people believe in other stuff. You're evil. There's no place for you in heaven. You took our children. You are gonna suffer, man. I'm shaking because I want to reach out to you, but I hope you feel my energy, okay? Go to hell.
Whoo. Let's see. All right, let's go to the judge and what he had to say.
Next is Dylan Mortensen. We're asking for some accommodations for Ms.
Oh,
Mortensen and that she be allowed to sit.
I clicked the wrong one, didn't I?
During the quiet morning hours of November 13, 2022, a faceless coward reached the tranquility of 6 beautiful young people and senselessly slaughtered them, 4 of them. Who committed this unspeakable evil was unknown for several weeks, but due to the killer's incompetence and outstanding police work by numerous local, state, and federal law enforcement agencies, the person that slithered through that sliding glass door at 1122 King Road now stands before the world and this court unmasked. This unfathomable and senseless act of evil has caused immeasurable pain and loss. No parent should ever have to bury their child. This is the greatest tragedy that can be inflicted upon a person. Parents who took their children to college in a truck filled with moving boxes had to bring them home in hearses lined with coffins. The loss this killer inflicted was not just the death of these people's children, siblings, grandchildren, as we've heard today. It has ripped a hole in their soul, destroying a special part of their very essence. Any person who is a parent defines themselves foremost as such. It is their existence and purpose of being. And it has been stolen from these parents.
Alan Dragon, I didn't read any of the comments about any of it. Are they going to piss me off if I go back and watch them?
None of us have experienced the loss these victims have in the unspeakable way that they have. And therefore, none of us can, nor should we, question the way in which they have handled their loss. Whether that be in private mourning, removed as far as possible from this media circus, or in front of a camera demanding retribution with the loudest megaphone. I've listened intently to the stories and pain that have been shared today, with great awe at the courage and resilience of the surviving family members of those wonderful children. I've listened also to the surviving roommates, both in person and through their friends. And I can't think of how, frankly, courageous they have been despite the hell that they have faced by uncaring people who have come up with all kinds of crazy theories about 2 kids simply being kids. The parents, siblings, and
I hope YouTubers catch what he said there. These YouTubers that were blaming them or content creators, not just YouTubers, TikTokers were doing the same thing. Until you're in their shoes, you never know how you will react. And something I'm going to do at 52 years old is different than a 21-year-old, 22-year-old's going to do. A lot different. Not to mention there had been alcohol involved. So your reactions are going to be way off. Shame on creators that have blamed these kids. Shame on you.
other family members who have spoken today are designated as victims in our legal system. But going forward, I hope that they can shed that label, as it gives too much power to the evil that condemned them to that role. They are and should be known as survivors, fighters, and foremost as witnesses to the tremendous lives of value and unbounded promise of these 4 young people. But those speaking today and those who did not speak, but who carry the same burden, this same loss, now carry forward the memories of these now perpetually young people, these forever children. These survivors carry the responsibility of ensuring that the voices of these children, Maddie, Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan, are never forgotten, and the positive impacts that they have had on so many lives are never minimized, and that the love they shared, the light that they shined onto others is forever celebrated. As we sit here today, this case is ending, and we are now certain who committed these unspeakable acts of evil, but we don't know, and what we may never know is why. I share the desire expressed by others to understand the why, but upon reflection, it seems to me, and this is just my own opinion, that by continuing to focus on why, we continue to give Mr. Kohberger relevance. We give him agency, and we give him power. The need to know what is inherently not understandable makes us dependent upon the defendant to provide us with a reason, and that gives him the spotlight, the
Hey, Michelle, welcome in, huh? How are you doing?
attention, and the power he appears to crave. Yet, even if I could force him to speak, which legally I cannot, how could anyone ever be assured that what he speaks is the truth? Do we really believe, after all of this, he's capable of speaking the truth or of giving up something of himself to help the very people whose lives he destroyed? Rather, I suspect the so-called reason would be dished out in enticing, self-serving, and aggrandizing untruthful bits, leaving people wanting more information, more insight, and thus enhancing even further the power he seeks to hold. Even if we could get truthful insight into his why, I suspect it would not in any way quench one's thirst for actually understanding why in the first instance, because there is no reason for these crimes that could approach anything resembling rationality. No conceivable reason could make any sense. And in the end, the more we struggle to seek explanation for the unexplainable, the more we try to extract a reason, the more power and control we give to him. In my view, the time has now come to end Mr. Kohberger's 15 minutes of fame. It's time that he be consigned to the ignominy and isolation of perpetual incarceration. I know there has been concern about him collaborating on books or movies or other media projects, and I truly hope that someone does not stoop to affording him this spotlight that he desires in the name of clicks, royalties, or profits. While criminal behavioralists should study him away from the spotlight in an attempt to prevent other would-be killers from acting on their worst impulses, there should be no need for that to spill over into the public eye. The great Idaho jurist Edward Lodge was known for trying to find something positive about every person he ever sentenced. And with over a half a century as a trial judge, that was a lot of people. This was often challenging, and I recall in one case he said that the best he could come up with was the defendant had good penmanship. Truth be told, I'm unable to come up with anything redeeming about Mr. Kohberger because his grotesque acts of evil have buried and hidden anything that might have been good or intrinsically human about him. His actions have made him the worst of the worst. Even in pleading guilty, he's giving nothing hinting of remorse or redemption, nothing suggesting even a recognition or understanding, let alone regret for the pain that he has caused. And therefore, I will not attempt to speak about him further, other than to simply sentence him so that he is forever removed from civilized society. Accordingly, based upon his conduct and based upon the record before this court, recognizing the standards that govern this court's sentencing decisions as set forth in State v. Toohill, I hereby sentence Mr. Kohberger as follows. On count 1, burglary, 10 years fixed, 0 years indeterminate. I also impose a fine of $50,000. Count 2, first-degree murder of Madison Mogen. I sentence the defendant to a fixed term of life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, a fine of $50,000, and a civil penalty of $5,000 payable to the family of the victim. On count 3, for first-degree murder of Kaylee Goncalves, I sentence the defendant to a fixed term of life.
Now, I think that $5,000 that he's given to each family is laughable. I don't know where the $50,000 is supposed to go. I guess that's for the state. That money should go to the families, in my opinion. Good thing is with him putting these kind of stipulations on him, any kind of book deal he might get, that money is going to go to them and not him. So
Life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, a fine of $50,000, and a civil penalty of $5,000 payable to the victim of the family, or to the family of the victim, pardon me. On count 4, for the first-degree murder of Xana Kernodle, I sentence the defendant to a fixed term of life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, a fine of $50,000, and a civil penalty of $5,000 payable to the family of the victim. On count 5, for the first-degree murder of Chapin, I sentence the defendant to a fixed term of life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, a fine of $50,000, and a civil penalty of $5,000 payable to the family of the victim. The sentences on counts 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 shall run consecutively to one another. Restitution will be left open for 60 days. Defendant will be required to submit a DNA sample and a right thumb impression to the Department of Corrections and comply with the DNA Database Act. I remand the defendant to the custody of the Idaho State Board of Corrections for to be imprisoned in an appropriate facility and execution of the sentence where he will remain until he dies. Though you've waived your right to appeal, you do have a right to file a notice of appeal, and any such appeal must be filed within 42 days of the date of the written judgment, which will be entered shortly hereafter. Though the appeal, you should be aware, may be deemed a violation of the plea agreement, and so I certainly suggest you discuss that with counsel if that is your desire.
So that is something everybody was bringing up, that in Idaho, he still has the right for appeal no matter what. But this judge just said, stop and think about that. Because if you do, talk to your lawyers, because if you do file that, that could be in breach of your plea agreement, which in turn means they could drop it all and go ahead and go into court with him. Ellen Dragon says she believes Idaho has a son of Sam law and he can't make any money off its crime. Let's look that up. Let's look. Does Idaho recognize son of Sam law? No, Idaho does not have a son of Sam law, according to the Facebook post from the Goncalves family. However, this doesn't mean that a convicted criminal in Idaho could profit from their crime. Idaho law provides other legal avenues, including civil lawsuits and victims' families and potential seizures of profits. So they do not have a formal son of Sam law. Yes, part of his agreement is no appeal. And that is what this judge was saying. Even though part of his agreement is no appeal, Idaho law still states he has the right to file motion of wanting to file an appeal. He still has that right. However, if he does, then his plea agreement is null and void, and they can go back into court. Right, Michelle? I mean, what do they make in prison? Like pennies per hour. So it's going to take a long time that way to make any money. However, if he signs any kind of book deals, TV deals, anything out in the world to give his story and his statements, if he makes any kind of money, they can put a judgment on him to get that money. So that's what if I was that family, I would, all four families, I would immediately start that process of filing, just like Nicole Brown Simpson's family did. They filed immediately a civil suit to procure any money that O.J. Simpson had, because he was found not guilty. I mean, we all know he did it, but he was found not guilty. Oh, I had a train of thought. Hold on. I don't remember where my train of thought was going. I know the families were torn. Like half of them wanted to go forward with the trial. Half of them wanted the plea deal. And I know the ones that feel slighted on this plea deal and how all of that went down. I understand their feelings. I do. And I can totally get it. Michelle, he was very sick. Yeah, Ozzy Osbourne had, I believe it was Parkinson's. So they knew it was coming with him. I don't know that they realized it was that quick, but I know that I had heard that they didn't think he would last till the end of the year. Like a few months is what they were giving him, as it was. But when these cases when they get the death penalty, they have so many other appeals that they can do. And even just regular sentencing, there's a ton of appeals that happen. And every time they appeal something or parole comes up, you have to, you're going in, you're writing letters, you're constantly having to deal with this. I don't know if y'all remember me telling y'all about the local case. This girl went to school with my husband, and her sister was killed in the 80s. And when they finally got the man in prison, I mean, it let him out. I'm trying to remember, there was some kind of discrepancy with Lisa's case, and he killed again. And then he went back in, and he kept getting chances for parole. And every time that stuff would come up, she, the Facebook page would get very active again, and she would be asking for everybody for letters, and she was having to go in and write letters, and it was just turmoil after turmoil for the family every time. And so when you hear other families talk about it, these chances for no appeal, in the end, are the better way. I mean, he's going to have 3 meals in a cot for the rest of his life, but prison's not fun. And he's not going to like the federal prison that's the Cush prison. He's going to a serious fucking prison. And look at him. He's going to be bitch boy in prison. It ain't going to be a fun life. And the thought of him, if it was my child, the thought of this man being tortured for the rest of his life every fucking day would be icing on the cake for me. Now, would I like to see him in front of a firing squad? Yeah, absolutely. But in the end, he's going to be tortured. Yeah, he ain't getting a vegan diet. I hate to tell him. He ain't getting a vegan diet. That ain't going to happen. So would y'all like to go over a couple of the documents that they released on the case? No, Michelle, it's not impossible. It's not. I don't think there was anybody else involved. I think that he did it. He studied this kind of thing. He was fascinated by Ted Bundy. He did questionnaires looking for, and there wasn't a trial. I mean, he pleaded guilty. No, he pleaded guilty, so there wasn't even a trial. So we don't really have all of that information yet. There's been a gag order that's been released, and they've started putting documents out. I did download all of those, and I've started going through them today. And we don't know motive. We just don't. Other than the fact that he was obsessed with serial killers. And he had not had any luck with women. I mean, he was the awkward dude. He would show up to parties and just he would not fit in anywhere. One of the girls that he worked with, she feels like he messed with her apartment and stole things and was watching her on the cameras. And there's a lot of things about him that are weird. And look at his eyes. I mean, you see him down here on the bottom. Those eyes are black. He is soulless. He did a questionnaire in his criminal justice class where he was asking, like, did you commit a crime? How did you feel? What were you doing before? All of the things that Olivia, what is her name? Olivia Goncalves, Kaylee's sister, were saying in her statement were things on his questions. Ellen Dragney sounds like my ex-husband. This guy, when we look at serial killers, I've only ever looked at one of those serial killers that really totally gave me the creeps. And that was the Night Stalker. Richard Ramirez freaked me the fuck out. Like, had I seen that man on the street, I'd have gone the other direction quick. Like, he scared the hell out of me. And when I look at him, he scares me. this dude makes me uneasy to look at him. And the body cam footage when they stop him on the highway, even then he creeps me out. And so he's definitely gonna be Big Bubba's bitch in prison. Like old mama said over there a while ago, you might have made A's in school, but you getting big D in prison. And I love that. Absolutely love it. Let's see. Let's go over here. I have all of these pulled up. And these are the supplemental reports. This is the first part. I literally gotten through 15 of them, and there's like 300 pages, 350 pages, I think. So we may have to go over this for a few days because it's a lot. And so this here is one of the Officer Corbin. I don't know exactly what his title was. It's got the other officers listed here. On 11/13, at about 1200 hours, I responded to 1122 King Road in reference to a possible homicide victims. Officer Nunes, I don't know if it's Nunes or Nunez, so I'm going to just say Nunes, has arrived on scene and found a total of 4 deceased individuals. Officer Nunes informed other units he believed this to be a homicide. When I arrived, I entered the residence and went to the second floor. I observed a female wearing a sweatshirt and underwear laying in the middle of the bedroom floor, covered in blood. I observed deep lacerations indicative of defensive wounds on the female's hands. The female was surrounded by blood on the floor. Trigger warning. This is trigger warning, guys. This is not easy to hear, and it is very detailed. So, trigger warning. The female was surrounded by blood on the floor. I observed a male laying on the bed. The male appeared to have suffered from stab wounds and a laceration to the neck. The male was covered in blood, and the bedding around him was soaked in blood. In a third floor bedroom, I observed 2 females, and so that was going to be that's Xana and Ethan, isn't it? Yes, that's going to be Xana and Ethan. In the third floor bedroom, I observed 2 females laying in the bed, which appeared to have been stabbed to death. The female laying on the left half of the bed, as I looked at it from the doorway, was unrecognizable. Her face was completely disfigured and was stabbed several times. I was unable to comprehend exactly what I was looking at while trying to discern the nature of the injuries. The second female on the right half of the bed had multiple stab wounds. The comforter was soaked in blood, and a pool of blood was still present. I was assigned to hold security at the rear slider door. This was alleged point of entry of the suspect. I observed a very large footprint in the snow. I used tape measure, and the shoe size measured approximately 13.5 to 14 inches. The footsteps went to and from the rear slider door. I observed the trail of the footsteps head away from the slider and then turn right around the stump into the backyard and lead toward the front of the house. I observed a set of small handprints on the window to the east of the slider. The screen to this window appeared damaged and was lying on the ground. I located smudged fingerprints on the glass slider door. There was discarded black backpack in the backyard. I photographed these items and attached them to the case. I maintained the rear security until I was relieved, by Officer Warner. The only person to enter from this point was Captain Lanier at 15:27 hours. And then he certifies. What it's trying to do. Oh, I'm dragging. That's really scary. I am so sorry. You need to protect yourself. Freaking crazy people out here. All right, so let's go to supplemental form 2. This is Officer Warner. On 11/13/22, at approximately 1158 hours, I responded to a report of an unconscious person at 1122 King Road. Dispatch advised a female was passed out from intoxication and not waking up. Dispatch advised there was a male seen in the room with the female last night. A short time later, dispatch advised the female was not conscious and not breathing. Okay, so when these reports are being written, it's in the very beginning, so they're really writing down everything that they're hearing at the time. What we do know now is, yes, on the 911 call, they say she's just unconscious and she's not breathing. There's nothing said about blood. There's nothing said about stab wounds or anything else. And in the documentary I told you all about on Prime, what the young man says that entered in there and seen, he was ahead of the girls. He went in to look to go see if he could wake the girls up. And he says that all he could think was getting the girls back out of the apartment, out of the house, so that they did not see the scene because it was so bad. And so he did not tell them there was blood, that anybody had been hurt. He just said unconscious because his thought process was to protect the girls. So that makes a lot more sense for people. I hope people understand that now and can go, oh, okay, All right. As I arrived, Officer Nunes advised over the air it appeared to be a homicide. I saw a small group of females outside of the home in the parking lot. One female advised the roommate was on the second floor and needed help. I went to Officer Nunes' location at the west bedroom on the second floor and passed a male in the living room, later identified as blank. Officer Nunes advised the female and a male in the bedroom had blood on them and appeared to be beyond help. I walked out of the bedroom toward, it just says J blank. It's blanked out. They just leave the initial, and saw a clean steak knife on a beer pong table. I pointed out the knife to Nunes. Jay said he got the steak knife from the kitchen because he arrived and saw the female on the bedroom floor covered in blood and did not know if there was anyone else present in the home. Jay said he checked the room with a knife for protection. Officer Nunes and I walked to the first floor entrance with, I think that's a B. I can't quite tell. I asked the female and blank if there was anyone else in the apartment, and they did not know. I told Officer Nunes the home was not secure, and we started the process of clearing it. On the third floor in the southeast bedroom, I saw two clothed females laying on a bed on their backs who appeared deceased. One female on the left side of the bed. Again, trigger warning, this is detailed and it is graphic and it is horrific. One female on the left side of the bedroom in relation to the bedroom door had an extreme amount of lacerations to her face and upper body, which made her unrecognizable. The other female had multiple lacerations on her upper body and some blood on her face. I walked to the far side of the bed to determine if the female on the right was beyond help. I saw the female's leg was off of the edge of the bed, and it had lividity. Once I noticed the lividity on the female's leg, I backed out of the room. Officer Nunes and I checked the rest of the third floor and saw it was clear. There was a poodle in the west bedroom on the bed and was later taken to the Humane Society by LCSO. After clearing the home, I briefly interviewed Blank. Blank said he was at his apartment. There's the address. And his girlfriend, Blank, received a phone call from one of the girls who lived at 1122 King Road. Blank said that Blank was called by one of the residents who said that they could not wake the female on the floor. Blank said he came over to the home at approximately 11:55. Blank said he saw the female on the floor in the bedroom and did not see the male on the bed, who he identified as Ethan, before grabbing the knife. So he didn't see him, but okay, I'm confused by that statement. Blank said he entered the bedroom and checked the female's pulse and found none. Blank said he did not check Ethan and left the home. He didn't see him, but then he does see him, so I'm a little bit confused by that. I thanked Blank for talking with me and told him he could go stand with Blank, who was with the other residents in the front of the home. I stood by the front door and started the crime scene log at 12:15. Sergeant Gunderson relieved me for approximately 3 minutes so I could get my gloves during my time at the front door. At approximately 15:02, I was relieved by Officer Rosinski, who took possession of the crime scene log and returned to the station. At approximately 15:28, I came back to the scene and relieved Officer Smith, who was standing at the rear sliding glass door, which found open when officers arrived. I remained at the back door until I was relieved by Officer Nunes at approximately 16:28. And then he certifies. Here's the third one. Let's see. Let me go see what y'all saying over here. Oh, Ellen Dragon, that is so scary. So scary. Okay. Supplemental Report 3 is Mitch Nunes. His narrative at on 11/13/2022 at approximately 11:56, I responded to an unconscious subject at 11:22 King Road in Moscow, Idaho. Upon my arrival, I found a large gathering of people in the parking lot immediately north of 1122 King Road residence. 1122 King Road is a white 3-story single-family residence with multiple bedrooms. The 1122 designation on the located directly above the front door facing north. I was directed to the bedroom to the second floor by Blank in the northwest corner to locate an unresponsive female. Upon entering the room, I observed a female laying supine on the floor next to a bed. According to, this is going to be Dylan, because it's DM, Dylan Mortensen. This female was likely Kaylee Goncalves. Dylan also lived at 1122 King Road. I observed dried blood surrounding Kaylee's body and signs of cutting trauma to her face. Kaylee was covered in so much blood, I wasn't able to immediately discern where any additional injuries would likely have been. Kaylee was apparently deceased due to her pale skin color, rigid body tone, and apparent blood loss. On the bed in the same room, I observed Kaylee. I observed a male lying supine on the bed. According to Dylan, the male was likely Ethan Chapin. Dylan said Ethan was commonly at the residence. I observed blood covering portions of Ethan's legs surrounding his body into the bed sheets and drops of blood on the wall near Ethan's head. As I backed out of the room, Blank showed me a kitchen knife and said he had it in his possession. I told Blank to leave the knife and go back down the stairs to the front entrance. Officer Warner and I moved visually clear the residence for any suspects or additional victims. On the third floor, Officer Warner and I found 2 additional apparently deceased females, both lying supine in a bed. This bedroom was on the southwest corner of the 3rd floor, according to Blank. That's going to be Dylan because that says D. These 2 females were likely Xana A. Kernodle and Madison Mogen. So I had the names mixed up a while ago. It's Kaylee downstairs, Xana upstairs. One female showed an apparent traumatic injury to her face. Jesus Christ, Brandy can't even read today. Due to the basic facial structure being unrecognizable. Both females showed very pale skin. Both females were covered in dried blood and apparently deceased. After the residence was deemed safe, Officer Warner and I exited the residence to secure it with the immediate area, to include the parking lot immediately north of the residence. I walked outside and began interviewing Dylan. Dylan told me at approximately 0400 hours, she heard a voice scream and believed it to be Kaylee's. Dylan said she heard Kaylee scream and announced there was somebody inside the residence. Dylan said she could hear Kaylee run from the 3rd floor down the stairs to the 2nd floor into the northwest bedroom. Dylan said she locked herself in her bedroom and continued to hear the commotion. Dylan said eventually she stopped hearing a struggle and heard a male voice say, "You're going to be fine. I'm going to help you." Dylan said she did not recognize the male's voice. Dylan said after a few minutes, she peeked out of her bedroom, observed a male described as approximately 6 foot tall, slim build with a black ski mask, leave the second floor patio. This patio door was likely left open as it was found open upon my arrival. I interviewed an additional roommate, B, which is Bethany, who told me she was at the residence during the commotion. Bethany said she was on the second floor in the living room watching Vampire Diaries with Dylan and an unidentified person named Blank. Blank said at approximately 2 a.m., 0200 on 11/13, Madison and Kaylee came home from a night out at the Corner Club bar located at Blank in Moscow, Idaho. Bethany said she also believed Madison and Kaylee went to the Grub Wondering Kitchen truck that was commonly located in the 300 block of South Main Street. Bethany said she and Madison let Madison's dog out, Murphy, sometimes between 0200 and 0230 hours. Bethany said during this time she observed no suspicious activity. Bethany said she returned inside while Madison was still outside with Murphy. Bethany said she went to bed around 2:30 hours. Bethany said Madison came into her bedroom sometime after 02:30 to ask if she knew where Murphy was. Bethany said she told Madison no, and Madison left. Bethany said she woke up in her bedroom, which was located in the first floor, to a sound she described as a firecracker and a flash. Bethany said she initially thought the sound was a prank. According to Bethany's phone log, she showed me, Bethany called Xana at 0421, Ethan at 0422, Madison at 0422, Madison again at 0430, and Kaylee at 0431. Bethany said she never received an answer on each phone call. Bethany said she went back to sleep and woke up around 11:56 when she called 911, or when 911 was called. Initially, I was told Kaylee was likely located on the second floor bedroom with Ethan. After comparing Dylan's initial statement with other investigation officers' observations, it appeared to actually be Xana that was located on the floor of the bedroom, and Kaylee was on the other female located in the third floor room. Okay, that's what I thought, and then I was reading that, so I was like, oh, I had it confused. So no, I had it right the first time. I also observed the following vehicles in the gravel parking lot that were immediately on 1122 parking. And he lists these vehicles. I was originally assigned to identify all the persons in the area. However, I was reassigned by Sergeant Gunderson to begin the search warrant application process. I provided the above information in the search warrant application. At approximately 1628, I returned to 1122 King Road to assist with securing the southwest patio entrance. I took responsibility of Officer Warner in documenting who entered the exit of the residence. I provided this documentation on a notepad and maintained the log until I was relieved by Officer Morris at 1750 hours. The following information is the rear patio entry log, and it goes into list every time somebody enters that area. So, whew, it is so much, guys. So much. All right. Supplemental report 4. Get a drink of water. So this is Ryan Snyder. Ryan Snyder initial response and canvas interviews. 11/13/22. At about 1200 hours, I responded to 1122 King Road for the report of a unresponsive subject. Upon my arrival, I noticed there were several college-age subjects out front of the address. I was directed to use police caution tape. to cordon off the crime scene. As I was working around the residence, I noticed the back door was open and there was footprints in the snow. Coming from the back door to the porch, Officer Smith took photos of these prints with the measuring tape. He watched the backyard area to make sure no one else came into that area. I noticed there were a few footprints that left toward the west of the backyard. This portion of the backyard is connected to two other residences, 1118 King Road and 1126 King Road, both directly to the west. The footprints appear to lead west toward King Road between the residents, but I was unable to see where the footprints went after the yards connected due to the amount of rock and landscaping. I also was unable to discern how old these prints were. There had not been recent snowfall. With Sergeant Gunderson, I entered the residence and continued taking photos of the scene. I entered through the bottom floor main door on the north side. I took photographs of the rooms, of the living areas in the residence. The photos were a report of the brief description of each photo. As I was down the road of the address near King Road and Queen Road intersections, I was approached by a college-aged male who identified himself as blank. He informed me he lived at blank King Road Apartments. He stated his blank lived upstairs at 1122, and they share a dog that was there. So this is the ex-boyfriend. Blank did not appear to have obvious wounds on his hands, and I would assume the suspect possibly would. Officer Nunes was investigating the subjects about the situation, and I asked Blank if he would wait inside Officer Nunes' police car so we could talk with him. He agreed. I informed Sergeant Gunderson of the circumstances involving Blank. Blank later responded to the police department to be interviewed and then picked up the dog from the Moscow Humane Society shelter. I continued to canvass the area and speak with neighbors at blank Queen Road who stated they did not hear or see anything relevant. I spoke with subjects at blank King Road. One resident, blank, stated she was walking home from the corner club at around 0300 hours and thought she could hear music or some type of noise, but she couldn't give any clarifying information more than that due to her level of intoxication that night. I spoke with subjects at Blank King Road. The majority of them stated they were out drinking at the corner club and got a ride back to their place at about 1:30 and went to sleep at about 2. They did not hear anything out of the ordinary. Blank King Road, blank residence, blank stated at about 400 hours, he heard a barking dog coming from the east of the residence. He believed it was the dog at 1122 King Road, as he thought that was the only dog in the area. He stated the dog sounded like it was outside and was barking for about 45 minutes until he believed someone must have let it inside at 0:45 when it stopped. Blank stated that he had a female with him in bed at the time and was also heard the dog barking. I spoke with the residents at Blank King Road. Blank informed me they had a camera facing the west at the address and believed captured a portion of the road. They first provided me with the SIM card. The camera, however, they could not get it to work, and neither could I. They gave me the username and password of the camera. I informed Detective Maury of the information, and they gave him permission to access the camera footage and record the necessary surveillance video. I cleared the scene at 1749. There's the photo log where he's got front of the address, the parking area, front east, back seat. So it looks like he took pictures of the inside of the cars, more of the outside, and then it goes into the bedrooms and the kitchen. There is a lot. I don't know if they're going to release any of that stuff. That stuff, I have no idea if they're going to release it. Oh, I'm dragging. That is horrible. It does, T-Pex. It is just It's so much. So much. Go down here. Okay, supplemental report 5 is Dellinger. On November 13th at approximately 12:53, I arrived at the scene. Gunderson and Lawrence, who gave me a brief overview of the information gathered at the time. Sergeant Lawrence informed me the Idaho State Police were going to assist in the investigation and were organizing to respond to the scene. Sergeant Lawrence responded to the police department to begin interviews. I remained on scene at the perimeter, awaiting further information. Approximately 1 hour later, a male approached the scene and began speaking with Sergeant Gunderson. The male was identified as blank. This is going to be Jeff Kernodle. I overheard Jay state his daughter lived at 1122 King Road, and he had been trying to get in touch with her, but was unsuccessful. It was also learned that Jay, daughter of Jeff, was nearby the scene. I asked blank if he and his daughter could come to the police department to speak with me. He agreed, and I returned to the police department, contacted Sergeant Lawrence at the police department, and asked if he had the names of the victims. Sergeant Lawrence stated he did and gave me the list. I saw one of the victims' names was Xana Kernodle, and I then met with Jay in the interview room of the police department lobby. Once in the room, I activated the audio and video recording equipment. I asked blank and blank for the information, and they both handed me their Arizona driver's license. After writing down their information, I asked blank what the name of his other daughter was. He informed me her name was Xana. I then informed them both, blank and blank, that Xana had been identified as one of the victims and that she was deceased. They became very upset, were crying heavily. And I know that sounds cruel that he writes this kind of thing in the report, but they have to note these details to exclude people from the investigation. I asked blank and blank when the last time they communicated with Xana was, stated that she texted with Xana on 11/11/22 at approximately 1700 hours. So the text messages were brief and were not in any of substance. Blank said he had texted Xana on 11/11 at around 1540 hours, and that she had responded stating that she was at work. Blank then told me he last spoke with Xana on the phone on 11/11 at approximately 2140 when they spoke about going to the WSU game. I asked blank where Xana worked, and he said it meant Greek. I asked both blank and blank if Xana had mentioned anything about having any issues with anyone or anything strange occurring lately. Both blank and blank said Xana had not said anything. Blank said Xana had a boyfriend, Ethan Chapin, it's Chapin, but he has Chapman here, who she had been dating for about 6 months or so. Jay said everything seemed fine with their relationship, and Jay added on how he had met Ethan's parents in passing this weekend. It should be noted, Jay was in town visiting as he resides in Avondale, Arizona, and it was Washington State University's Parents Weekend. I asked blank and blank if there was anyone they wished we to contact for them, if they were wished to speak with anyone, such as a member of clergy. Both told me no. I gave them my business card and informed them that our detective would be in contact with them in the near future. So that stuff should be in the report as well. Come back over and see what y'all are saying. Whew, this is a lot, guys. This is a lot. I think we're going to have to break these down over a period. I mean, considering there's 300 pages, I'm not going to, definitely not going through all of them tonight. But this is just, ooh, it's heavy. It's very heavy. And this has been a really informative week in true crime. Like, let's see, which ones do we have? I'm just skimming this one. That one didn't have anything of substance. I think what I want to do is here we go. I'm going to go through these and pull the ones that aren't redundant, and just because they're going to do all of the reports on all of the different conversations that they've had, and some of them just really aren't that important. I don't feel. My computer's about to die. I'm trying to find my plug. And so I'll go through these and find us another set of them to start reading, and we'll just kind of go over those. Because it's just heavy. And we've listened to the statements. We listened to it all day, and it's just so much. My emotions are all over the place with it. Because these faces on the screen, these faces up here, not this one in the bottom right corner, ignore him. He's going to live in hell for the rest of his life. But these other 4 beautiful faces, this picture up here that we've seen so much of, the top left, that was taken that day, right before they all headed out for the night. Maddie's mom has this sweatshirt still. The story she tells about this sweatshirt, she'd spent a lot of money on it, and then her daughter was cutting it up, and she about had a fit because she had spent so much money on the sweatshirt. Her daughter was cutting it, and she's like, "But Mom, this is how everybody's wearing them," and she couldn't be mad at her after that. And Maddie looks so much like her mother. My God, they look so much alike. Oh, I was going to do the press conference one. I need to go back to that one. But she was able to get this sweatshirt. That was one thing she was able to get from the scene, and she's cherishing it. Oh, Gizmo, come here. Come here, Gizmo. You're all wrapped in Mom's shirt. Hold on, I got to rescue the dog. Quit. Y'all quit. Y'all quit. Y'all quit trying to pull my stuff down. Gizzy had himself wrapped in my shirt sleeve. But this week in true crime, so he pled, then we had Stephen Stearns plead. And then, so I need to do that one. We need to go over that sentencing and family impact statements. But I kind of want to finish going through some of this stuff too. Let me go pull that up. Because I wanted to go over that press conference. I totally forgot about the press conference. Okay. Do we know what is up with his eyebrows? Other than they're big, bushy, and scary? No. Are you going to do LBD? Okay, why are those initials not sticking out to me? This is why I'm going to have to do earlier lives because late at night I start getting like loopy. What is LBD? What am I missing? Oh, did he shave him for this? That might have been what she was talking about. I was trying to figure out why she said that. Oh, Lori Vallow Daybell. Is she got another one coming up? Oh, she does have another sentencing coming up, doesn't she? Oh, she's so psycho. She is truly mentally deranged. All right, so let's watch this press conference real quick.
Come out of the Ada County Courthouse right there. Let's take a look and a listen to see what they have to say.
The families as they answer your questions. Thanks so much.
Well, it's almost been 3 years, and today's the end of a long, hard-fought battle. But we have our person, and we have him where he belongs. So for that, we are thankful for all the men and women that put the work together.
And they've been the most outspoken about not being happy about this plea deal. So I feel like they may have calmed down about that a little bit. I think maybe they just feel like they didn't get enough warning and enough communication. And I can understand that feeling. I do. I don't fault them for that at all. And I do want to say this. Like, we don't need to be hating on Bryan Kohberger's family. They are not responsible for the choices he did. And he's ruined their lives as well with his choices. And that is also very sad.
Put this case together, and once it's part of the court system, it was a little ugly, but we got that conviction, and we're glad to be moving on. Glad we can move on.
Steve, the family or the judge talked about how we may never know why, and it may not be worth it to try to answer the why with something so senseless. You can't make sense of it. How do you feel about that?
There's some truth to that, but then, there's also the fact that, what would he tell as a lie as to opposed to the truth? So
The knife, if he gave the knife up, or if he gave a part of his kill kid, if he gave out facts that only the killer would know,
it would corroborate things.
It would corroborate things, and he even addressed there's been way too many conspiracies, and the surviving witnesses had to go through hell. Well, no better way to protect them than by getting some of those details. If you got those details, then as simple as just saying I did it solo would have been valuable, I think. And we stand by the negotiation wasn't justice. It was just a shortcut, and we said from the very beginning we're not interested in the shortcut for our daughter. We wanted everything.
Steve, you turned the podium at one point. Talk to us about why you wanted to stare at him face to face.
Because he's a coward. He's been protected by the court from day one, the minute that he was arrested. So I wanted to let him know that I was directing everything towards him, and his days of being protected are coming to an end. From what I've been explained, he gets on a van today, and he's got like 12 minute ride, and then he'll be the responsibility of Idaho State.
Were you planning on turning the podium though, or did you do that in the moment?
I remember reading it saying "do not move," so I was like, well, I'm moving this. I just kind of made that decision right then and there. So, I want to make it as
he was being a rebel. I love that.
difficult as possible. I knew my daughter was going to do a speech, and I'd heard it, and I was like, he's going to hate this. He's going to hate this next set of people that are kind of.
No, T-Pex, he did not. He refused to give a statement. And so, could he have said anything that would have pleased anybody today? No, he hasn't, other than his statement when he pled guilty. And if you want, I can pull that up too, if you want to see that.
To come forward and really rip into him and really expose him for what kind of a piece of trash he was. And we've been waiting a long time to say some of those things that needed to be said.
Stephen Jr., you chose not to speak. Speak now, is there anything you said?
I've written up a statement. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe this is where you do it.
Okay. Well, allow me a second.
Maybe it wasn't court appropriate.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't. Yeah, my name's Stephen Goncalves. I'm Kaylee's older brother. She was my little sister, my friend, the middle child in the heart of our family. There are no words that can fully describe her spirit, but if you knew her, you knew joy, you knew light, you knew someone who made everything better just by being in the room. My statement was largely grounded in one goal, and that was to do everything for anyone who listens to this and has to go through something similar to not have to endure what we had. My family's fought tirelessly, not just for answers, but for accountability. We've stood in front of cameras, behind closed doors, and across from people who didn't want us to speak, but we did, and we won't stop now. Across nearly every murder case prosecuted by Bill Thompson, including the killing of University of Idaho football player Eric McMillan, there is a clear and troubling pattern. Families are left feeling unheard, justice is negotiated down through plea deals, and the public is left with unanswered questions. In the McMillan case, charges were reduced from first-degree to second-degree murder, prompting confusion and outrage from the victim's family and community. The same pattern is emerged in the Silas Parks and John Lee cases, both of which prosecuted by Bill Thompson, where capital-eligible crimes were resolved through plea agreements, sidestepping trials and diminishing public accountability. The most egregious of these crimes was the brutal killing of Whitney Parks, a young pregnant woman whose life was taken by her husband, Silas Parks, during a violent domestic assault. Whitney was only 22 years old. Whitney was beaten and strangled in her own home, an act of cruelty that not only ended her life, but also the life of her unborn child. And yet, despite the devastating nature of this crime, Bill Thompson reduced the charges from murder to voluntary manslaughter, ultimately securing a sentence that allowed Parks the possibility of parole after just 5 years. There was no trial, no full accounting of what Whitney endured, no acknowledgement in the legal outcomes of the child she was carrying. For Whitney's family, for anyone who believes that justice system should speak forcefully for victims, this wasn't justice. It was a deal, and it was like so many others under Thompson's watch. It prioritized expedience over accountability. Now, almost predictably, we find ourselves reliving that pattern in the current case. Despite the magnitude and brutality of the crime, the prosecution chose to accept a plea deal behind closed doors, without trial, without ever consulting our family in any meaningful way. In fact, we learned from the plea deal that had been finalized from an email from the prosecution team. Not in person, not with warning, not with respect. That moment underscored what we feared all along, and that this case was following the same well-worn path toward expedience over justice. Sentencing once again fails to reflect the severity of the act, and the emotional fallout has landed again on the shoulders of the victims' families, who have been left out, unheard, and grieving not just a horrific loss, but a system that continues to bypass them. The through line is undeniable. Whether it's 2004 or 2025, this prosecutional, is that a word? Sorry. Prosecutional approach has consistently abandoned the very approach it is, or the very people it is supposed to protect. The trend you'll notice from Thompson's prosecuted crimes are the following: plea bargains avoiding capital punishment, charge reductions, sentences that misalign with the gravity of the crime, lack of trial due to plea bargains. These aren't just failures in process, they're failures that have real consequences for real people. After reviewing Bill Thompson's history, it's clear our family was never given a fair chance at justice. But this isn't just about a prosecutor's record. It's about Kaylee. It's about my sister. She's not just one of the Idaho 4. She was a daughter, a sister, a best friend, and the light in every room she walked into. When the prosecution followed the same path we've seen before, closed doors, limited input, and a plea deal handed down without our voice, it became painfully clear that Kaylee was being treated just like another case. But she wasn't. She was everything to us, and our pain has only deepened, knowing that the system didn't fight for her the way she deserved. I'll leave everyone with this. There's 1,000 things I wish I could say to Kaylee, but today I'll just say this. I will always carry her with me for the rest of my life, and I will never stop being her brother.
Steve,
thank you.
Now that the gag order is lifted, is there anything that you've learned over the last 2.5 years from the investigators or the prosecutors that you can share with us now that you can speak about?
Well, I think it was kind of interesting that once the president sent a truth statement out, they called us right up and they told us everything. So I don't know what was holding them back before, but we spent about 3 hours, close to 3 hours with the lead detectives. And we found, because our main thing was we didn't want to have victims advocate statements that had lies and misquotes and misinformation in it. So I appreciate the president, putting a little bit of pressure on there, and it seemed to work. Up until that time, they told us they were not going to tell us, and we were going to have to just wait for.
I hadn't even heard what the president said, so I'm going to have to look that up because now I'm curious.
To the things to be unsealed. But yeah, it was horrific what Kaylee went through. And I don't want to protect this guy, but I won't give out all the details. I'll be general, but yeah, she was stabbed over 30 plus times, and she was struck, and there was quite a bit of damage to her face. So this guy's just an absolute monster. Anyone who thinks that he's otherwise, I just looked at pure demons out there. When I was looking at him, we had a stare down, and he's just filled with demons.
That's a true statement. I don't know if he's retiring or not, but when he pulls up, when he's talking about this record, I mean, is this prosecutor afraid of trial? Is he afraid of failing? Is that why he does all these plea deals? I mean, that's something to think about. Like, why is the record for plea deals so strong with him? I mean, I don't know what the comparison is to other prosecutors. I mean, maybe that's something to look into. But, I mean, if he doesn't have the balls to take these things to court, then he doesn't need to be in that position. You know? But I want to share. Let's pull the guilty plea up. Since some of y'all have not seen this one. Let's see, I think we're at this spot. Sure, is it showing? Yep, it's showing.
Of the sentence under Idaho Criminal Rule 35. This is not a Rule 11 agreement, meaning the court is not bound by the plea agreement and could impose a different lawful sentence at sentencing. The stipulated agreement between the parties is the maximum on each count. So theoretically, the only thing the court could do would be a lesser sentence at sentencing. But the defendant is not free to ask the court to do so under the plea agreement. Are there any other material terms of the plea agreement that the parties would like to make? Obviously, the plea agreement, the written plea agreement will speak for itself and be part of the court record.
Not from the state, Your Honor. Thank you.
To plead guilty, as well as the possible consequences to you of your guilty pleas. I want to make sure your plea is given voluntarily, and I want to make sure that you actually committed the crimes to which you're pleading guilty, because I don't want you to plead guilty to a crime you didn't commit. If you attempt to plead guilty today, but for some reason I don't accept your plea, then it is possible that your statements today could be used against you later at trial. Do you understand that?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. And now, while you're standing, actually, why don't you take the oath from the clerk?
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you shall give in the matter not before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
All right, and Mr. Kohberger, just to make it easier, you don't need to stand when you speak to me. I appreciate the sign of respect, but for convenience, you can remain seated, all right? Before I start asking you questions today, have you consumed substantive questions? Let me ask you, have you consumed any alcohol, drug, or other intoxicating substance that would impair your ability to understand or exercise reasonable judgment?
No.
You feel like you are thinking clearly today?
Yes.
All right, I want you to understand what the possible penalties are for each of the crimes to which I understand you're going to offer a guilty plea today. They include on count one, the burglary, a fine of up to $50,000 and a period of incarceration of up to 10 years in the state penitentiary. You may be required to pay restitution to any victims of the crime. Count 2, 3, 4, and 5 for first-degree murder. The consequences include a fine of up to $50,000, a period of incarceration of life imprisonment, which is a requirement of a sentence that it be a life.
Yes, T-Pex, he was evaluated and was deemed competent for trial. I don't think they're going to release what they found in any of that. I mean, maybe had they gone to trial, they would, but he was competent.
Sentence with a mandatory minimum sentence of at least 10 years on each of those counts.
I think they're saying theft because he entered a home uninvited. Because I don't think he stole anything. I'm trying to remember how they worded that. It had to do with entering a home and committing a felony, and so they can throw a theft charge on there. I would have just dropped that if it was me, but.
In addition, you would be potentially responsible for a fine of up to $5,000 to each of the victims of your crime to be enforced in the form of a civil judgment to operate as additional punishment. This is in excess of any restitution or fines that the court could order. And again, you may be required to pay restitution to the victims of the crime. You would be required to provide, as to counts 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, a DNA sample and a right thumbprint impression, and potentially pay for analysis of those samples. You would lose any right to possess, purchase, or carry a firearm, the right to serve on jury duty, the right to hold public office, and the right to vote. Do you understand the charges and all those possible consequences?
Yes.
You've heard the plea agreement that I talked about today. Do you agree with that plea agreement?
Yes.
And do you understand the nature of the charges that are that you've been charged with that I understand you're going to plead guilty today to?
Yes.
As as I indicated, I'm not bound by the plea agreement, but the plea agreement is for the maximum on each count. Do you understand that I'm not bound by the plea agreement?
Yes.
Has anyone promised you that I would be lenient or easy on you if you pled guilty?
No.
Has anyone threatened you or anyone close to you to get you to plead guilty?
No.
Has anyone other than the state's agreements with respect to the plea agreement, has anyone promised you anything in exchange for your plea agreement?
No.
Has anyone told you to be untruthful in answering my questions today?
No.
Has anyone offered you a reward of any kind other than the plea agreement in order to get you to plead guilty today?
No.
Are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Yes.
And counsel, obviously there have been a number of motions filed to suppress evidence in this case. Other than those filed, are there any other motions that you felt were available with respect to Rule 12?
No, Your Honor.
And Mr. Kohberger, you understand that by entering the guilty plea in this case, you would be giving up your right to appeal any decision this court made, as well as your sentence.
Yes.
Have you had enough time to decide whether or not to plead guilty?
Yes.
Are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yes.
Given your choices, do you believe it's in your best interest to plead guilty?
Yes.
Have you discussed fully the matter of pleading guilty with your attorney, and are you satisfied with the advice you've received?
Yes.
Has your attorney advised you to your satisfaction about what your rights are, what your defenses may be, and what the possible consequences to you of your guilty plea are?
Yes.
Has your attorney done everything you've asked them to do?
Yes.
Are you satisfied with their representation of you?
Yes.
I have received a written guilty plea advisory questionnaire that is purported to be filled out by you. Did you fill that document out?
Yes.
Did you understand the questions that you answered in this document?
Yes.
And are the answers that are outlined in this document your answers?
Yes.
Are those answers truthful?
Yes.
Did you sign the document?
Yes.
And this document outlines many of the rights that you have in this case. Should you not plead guilty, did you understand those rights?
Yes.
They include a right to a jury trial. Do you understand that?
Yes.
They include a right to the presumption of innocence. Do you understand that?
Yes.
They have the right to require the state to prove your guilt as to each element beyond a reasonable doubt. Do you understand that?
Yes.
They include a right to confront your accusers and cross-examine witnesses presented by the state, including by utilizing the subpoena power of the court to accomplish that. Do you understand that?
Yes.
You understand you would have a privilege against self-incrimination and a right to...
There is absolutely no emotion. Nothing's changed from his facial here to his facial when they were ripping him a new one. Like, there's nothing. His shoulder seems slumped more here. We're going to have to watch the body analysis tomorrow night and see what they're all saying, because I'm curious to see what the psychologists dissect on all of this.
to remain silent, meaning you would not be compelled to testify if you did not wish to, had you not pled guilty.
Yes.
You understand you're giving up that privilege and those rights that I've just outlined by pleading guilty.
Yes.
Very arrogant, T-Pex. Very arrogant.
All right, I want you to understand what the state would have had to have proven at trial had you, as to the crimes that you're pleading guilty to, had you, if you didn't plead guilty. Let me find the document. Hang on a second here. All right. So as to count one burglary, the state would have to have proven that on or about November 13, 2022 in Latah County, Idaho, you unlawfully entered a residence located at 1122 King Road in Moscow, Idaho, with the intent to commit the felony crime of murder. As to count two, the state would have had to have proven that on or about that same date in Latah County, Idaho, you did willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation and malice aforethought, kill and murder Madison Mogen, a human being, by stabbing Madison Mogen, from which she died. As to count three, the state would have had to have proven that on that same date in Latah County, at that same address, you did willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation and malice aforethought, kill and murder Kaylee Goncalves, a human being, by stabbing her, from which she died. As to count four, the the state would have had to have proven that on or about that same date in Latah County, Idaho, you did willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation and malice aforethought, kill and murder Xana Kernodle, a human being, by stabbing her, from which she died. And then as to count 5, also murder in the first degree, that on or about November 13th, 2022, in Latah County, Idaho, you did willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation and malice aforethought, kill and murder Ethan Chapin, a human being, by stabbing him, from which he died. Do you understand those things the state would have had to have proven?
Yes.
And do you understand that by pleading guilty, the state no longer has to prove those things because you're admitting those things are true?
Yes.
I want to also make for the record, the defendant has provided with the guilty plea advisory form a document entitled Written Factual Basis that purports to have the defendant's signature dated 1 July 2025. Did you sign that document?
Yes.
And did you agree with the written factual basis that is included there?
Yes.
Good night, Ellen Dragon. Drive safe tomorrow. Sleep good. Yeah, I'm gonna finish this up and then we'll shut down and we'll pick back up tomorrow with some body analysis.
And then let me ask you, did you, on November 13th, 2022, enter the residence at 1122 King Road in Moscow, Idaho, with the intent to commit the felony crime of murder?
Yes.
Did you, on November 13th, 2022, in Latah County, state of Idaho, kill and murder Madison Mogen, a human being?
Yes.
And did you do that willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, and with premeditation and malice aforethought?
Yes.
Did you, on or about that same date in Moscow, Idaho, kill and murder Kaylee Goncalves, a human being?
Yes.
And did you do that willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, and with premeditation and malice aforethought?
Yes.
And did you, on that same date in Moscow, Idaho, kill and murder Xana Kernodle, a human being?
Yes.
And did you do that willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation and malice aforethought?
Yes.
And then on or about November 13th, 2022, again in Latah County, Idaho, did you kill and murder Ethan Chapin, a human being?
Yes.
Did you do that willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation and malice aforethought?
Yes.
I would ask the state at this time to provide its recitation of its factual basis had this.
And that's pretty much all he does for that. And then they go into the state's case. Yeah, T-Pex says, I would like to know what his thoughts were pre-crime. Same. And I don't know that we're ever going to know unless he talks to somebody while he's in prison, a creator or even, I don't know, somebody. I know they said that they don't, want anybody giving him any more attention, but if we could get him talking and given some kind of detail to where we could understand a little bit more why he's doing what he did. I don't know. My brain wants to know. I think if it was my family, I would not be able to rest till I had some kind of answers that way. And so I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with any of that. So like Ted Bundy, and he researched Ted Bundy and was like awed by him, or enamored by him, I should say. And awed, that wasn't even a word. He does strike me as a modern day Ted Bundy. He does resemble him. He does a lot. And Ted Bundy started with college kids. So, I mean, that's all he, I mean, there were some that weren't college, but majority, 98% of what he killed was college. And it was a sorority house is how they caught him, basically. And just creepy as fuck. Oh, so creepy. Like, I know he's not a serial killer, but I do think he was a serial killer in the making. I think had they not caught him as fast as they did, he would have found a way to do this again. I firmly believe that. I know I have no proof on that, and there's no evidence showing that, but my gut tells me he would have absolutely killed again. I mean, Edmund Kemper killed college students. Ted Bundy killed college students. It's just scary. So I think the next live, we should have a few. I know Dr. G did one. I think there's a few other ones that have done some body language commentary. And so I kind of want to maybe play theirs and see what they're saying. See what we can pick up from the professionals on this one. But we'll leave out tonight thinking of these beautiful, beautiful, move my face, these beautiful young people, Xana, Kaylee, Maddie, and Ethan, who were taken way too soon by an absolute monster. They were living their best life, doing college things, doing what young people do, and just enjoying their time. And it was stolen from them. Prayers and my heart go out to their family, to their friends, to the other victims. To, Dylan and Bethany, who are victims in this case, to the other college students that were tormented by social media presence. My heart and my prayers go out to them. I send them all the love. And I hope that this brings a little bit of peace to their lives, a little bit of justice. I mean, I know they may not feel like they got justice, but hopefully in time they will see that they did, But alrighty, guys, happy hump day. Have a good one. We'll see y'all again. Let's do this tomorrow night. Let's do some more tomorrow night. Not as late, but tomorrow night. Good night, everybody.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that. Spitting slow, spitting fast, I could roast, I could gas. Think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains at last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last.